Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel, and this is your tip of the week. This is my husband Manny, and he often helps me put fabric pieces away. And do you ever find you've got so many little pieces of fabric? I mean really small, some smaller than this, and you don't really want to throw them away and you wish you had some projects to do. So let me show you a few. For those of you that are beginners, this has minimal amount of sewing. Now it is a Christmas wreath, but it's something you can make for any season of the year. And all this is long strips of fabric. You take the strips, fold them in half, and you stitch them together. Then you take polyfill stuffing and stuff them down in the tubes. And then you braid it. Now there's a little more to this than that. So if you've got leftover jelly roll strips, now that would make a really skinny one. So if you want to make really small tubes, you can use leftover jelly roll strips. Or I think these might be 4.5-inch wide strips to start out with, because I know a lot of you tell me you have leftover long strips of fabric and you're not quite sure what to do with them. Now, any of these projects, I'll show you a few more projects, but I will have links to all of these listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. On this, these are strips of jelly roll pieces, and all I did was cut them a little shorter. It's not one great big long piece. And I think I got this wicker wreath form either at Dollar Tree or Walmart. I don't remember which one. But the reason why I'm showing you this is you can take simple things like this and tie your jelly roll strips that you have. Cut them a little shorter, mix them up. You don't need to, you can make it all one color if you like, but I like having a variety of colors. And you could actually go around it even more than this. But then you could also, if you have like any leftover plastic flowers, you could cut those up and glue them up here. I use a hot glue gun, it's one of my favorites. This was a piece of leftover ribbon. So always go through even scraps of ribbon that you may have. Or you can even cut out strips of fabric, maybe one of your jelly roll strips, and tie a bow using your jelly roll strips. And this is all glued on. This is a wire wreath form. Now this is one of many different shapes that you can buy. And in a moment I'm going to show you a variety of wire wreath forms that you can get. So you can cut very small pieces of fabric. So for those of you who have a lot of little pieces of fabric, this is a perfect project, and it's called rag wreaths. Now a lot of your rag wreaths are just tied on any old way and the fabric just kind of flops all in different directions. But there's also other ways of tying it. So basically what a rag wreath is you start on one row, fill it all in, go to the next row, and then the next row. The best type is to use multiple colors, a variety of colors, especially if you're not making it for any particular season, and these are really easy to do. Now, if you have children in your family or grandchildren, and they're old enough to understand, you can actually give this to them as a project. Let them pick out of your scrap pile the fabrics they want to use and get them involved in sewing and crafts. Now let me show you what I did with this. So on this one, I took long strips of fabric, like one of your jelly roll strips, and I wrapped the frame, just kept going around and around and around. Then I took another strip of jelly roll and I cut it with, some of your jelly roll strips come with edges that are cut with pinking shears. This one wasn't, so I took my pinking shears and clipped the edge so it would be a little jagged. Then on the other edge, I did a straight stitch, a basting stitch, really large basting stitch, and gathered this up and then glued it on the back. Now then you can go to Dollar Tree or other stores and you can buy extra little trims if you want, or again, take some of your fabric pieces and make a bow out of it. This is another rag wreath. On this rag wreath, it's tied on. The other wreath I showed you was not a rag wreath, it just had fabric wrapped. So when you talk about rag wreaths, you're taking little narrow strips of fabric, not very long, and you literally tie them around on each row. Now this one here is tied in a specific way. That's the way so that they will go straight out like this. And this is a wreath form that only has 3 rows on it, so this is fairly quick. And another way you could finish it off is like what I did here. I just took extra buttons I had left over from another project and glued them around here. Now let me show you the different types of wreath forms that I have found. Now this is a carrot. You could put minimal on it and it would still look great. Now I forget what this symbol is called, but there's also that shape. Then there's a candy cane, a star, and there's even a witch hat. And then there's a Easter bunny. And then you can also get, as I said before, a variety of circle shapes or circle sizes. They come in very small, medium, and really big. This is a pumpkin wire wreath form. And I turned this into a rag wreath one time and it was really bad. It looked awful. So I don't suggest tying little pieces of fabric on it because it won't look like a pumpkin. But you can take this little piece up here where the twine is, and you can wrap it with different types of twine or rope, or just cover it with some fabric in a greenish color. The other thing that would look nice is to put some fabric, pumpkin fabric, behind, and I'll give you another suggestion in a moment. And you can cover this with some kind of trim. Maybe you have a lot of leftover trim. Maybe even put some of this twine or rope on it. And then here is another, let me turn this over, pumpkin fabric. And so you can coordinate your trims with this. One of the ways that I did this was I cut some of the fabric and just put it on every other one from behind. And then every other piece that didn't have the fabric on it, I put ribbon, really wide decorative ribbon. Or you can take another type of fabric, fold the raw edges under, lay it over the top of the wire, and so that you have every other row is a different fabric. Now, here are some samples of rope that I have. You can buy rope at Dollar Tree, but let's say you don't live next to a Dollar Tree. You can go to a hardware store and they have all kinds of rope there. There's this type of rope. You can use these on the back of certain wreaths to make a little hook or a loop to hang them with. And then here is a little heavier or thicker type of rope, and I've used this in tote bags. If you don't know how to make a bow and you want to accessorize whatever you've made, I do have a tutorial on how to make bows 3 different ways. They're very basic bows. And this one here is made out of leftover ribbon that I had. So all I did was cut the ribbon all different lengths, cut that little ducktail shape out of the ends of them. You can even do this out of fabric pieces, which I've also done. The same thing was done with this glittery ribbon. Now, if you don't want to bother with making your own bow, you can buy pre-made bows. And if it's a seasonal time of the year, you can find bows for that particular season, or you can make your own. I'm going to show you one other little idea for accessorizing a rag wreath is you can take piping and wrap it around a pencil and wrap it around pretty tight all the way a bunch of times. Go down like this and keep wrapping it. Yeah, like that. Okay, then you slide it off the pencil and hold on to one end and then just pull it out a little bit. And then on your wreath, you can just stick it in various places around your wreath. So piping is a really inexpensive way to embellish a really basic project. Now, if you have some leftover pieces of fabric that have large print on it, like for instance, this is a bunny, was off of some Easter fabric I had. And I wanted to make something that I could glue onto a wreath or stick in a flower pot arrangement, whatever. So I cut it out, left a lot of the fabric sticking out around it. Then I took pinking shears and trimmed the edges, and then stitched close to the design, somewhat close to it. Doesn't have to be right next to it, just somewhat close. I left a little opening that I didn't stitch, and I put polyfill stuffing in the middle. Then I had a little piece of ribbon left over, turned it into a funky little bow, glued it on, and put a little button over it. Then you can use skewers that you can buy at the grocery store and insert it in through the hole. And you have a nice little decoration you can either stick into a wreath, cut this stick down short, or just not put the stick on and then glue it onto your wreath. So here is the fabric that I cut it off of. And you have all of these different colors. So you can select different colors and scatter them over your project. So here's another project in which you can use very small pieces of fabric, and they're tied onto a string of lights, and this has a battery pack at the end. And what I did with this is that I can put it down the center of my dining table and turn the lights on, and it can be a nice little decoration for whatever dinner party you're having, or if you're having a little buffet counter at your little bar counter space, you can put the string of lights there or drape them around your husband's neck so you can find him. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tip of the week and that you try to use some of these projects. Or maybe you can brainstorm a little bit inside your own mind and come up with some creative ways to use small pieces of fabric. Now, all of the links to a lot of these projects I've shown you are listed below your YouTube screen. So if you're looking for more detailed information on some of these, all of that will be in the description section. So scroll down till you see the word more. Click on it and it will expand open. Now don't forget to follow me on Instagram and make sure you go and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.